Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Canon Chatter TV with me, Stephen. And as always, I'm joined by Granville. And tonight we are delighted that we are joined by a very special guest. We have Anthony joining us from the Republic of Arsenal. Good evening, Anthony. How are you?
I'm doing good, lads. Doing good. Really happy to be here. Cheers for the invite. I've been following the show for quite a while now, and really like what you guys are doing here. So it's it's nice to be here with you. So I know we're going to be touching a few nerves tonight, but aside from having to talk about Arsenal, I'm very happy to be here.
Good. Well, thank you for being on. And obviously, I've been on your show a couple of times, so it was about time you returned the favor and came on to our show. So great to have you with us. G, how are you tonight, Matt?
Yeah, personally, I'm good. Busy day at work today. Personally, I'm well, but I kind of just, after last night's game, I sat up and watched the show from last night that, Anthony had on his channel that you were a guest on. Just because I wasn't ready to go to bed. I just wanted to hear people have a good moan and a good rant about that performance. And to be honest, I've still not had enough. So I think be prepared. That's all I can say.
Excellent. Well, listen, we've quite a bit to get through tonight, so we'll roll the title and we'll get started.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's
Okay, so yeah, as I say, quite a bit to get through tonight. Obviously, we have last night's game to talk about. We have the Newcastle game on Sunday to talk about, and whatever else we come up with on the hub. And also we'll see if we can have a little bit of fun in here somewhere as well, and try to put a bit of smile on people's faces, have a bit of a laugh, rather than maybe wanting to kill ourselves after watching that last night. So, I mean, obviously, Anthony, this is your first time on with us. We really appreciate you coming on. For those watching who aren't familiar with you, tell us a little bit about yourself, a bit about your background, how you came about becoming an Arsenal supporter, and obviously about your own channel and stuff.
Yeah, well, how I became an Arsenal fan, I have to blame my dad for that one. I'm a third generation Arsenal fan. My granddad passed it on to my dad, and unfortunately I picked up the bad habit as well. So that's how it happened. My dad was actually, he was born in London. I'm from Dublin originally, but my dad was actually born close enough to Stamford Bridge, funny enough. But luckily enough, my granddad was an Arsenal fan, so he didn't inherit the blue side of London. So although nowadays I'm kind of looking at that and I kind of go, maybe I would have been a bit better off now, but. As much as I give out about Arsenal, I'm happy I inherited the Arsenal gene from him. But my channel, it's the Republic of Arsenal. Pretty simple name, as you can tell from the accent. I'm from the Republic of Ireland. I'm an Arsenal fan. Republic of Arsenal, pretty simple. Started back in December. So yeah, going well. It's growing slowly, but. Look, I'm enjoying this YouTube journey that we're all on at the moment, and in the middle of all this lockdown and that, the thing that drives me most insane is Arsenal, but the thing that has kept me most sane during these crazy times has been, meeting Arsenal fans and football fans, and being able to speak about, this game and this club that we're passionate about. And as G was saying, being an Arsenal fan, it's healthy to be able to rant. So definitely, I'm almost using this as like a form of therapy. So and as an Arsenal fan, we need an awful lot of it. So yeah, I'm always happy to come on and chat Arsenal, whether that's discussing positives or just venting and getting me free therapy here. So I'm always happy.
Excellent. Do you know the funny thing? I mean, you'll notice yourself, obviously doing this. There's an awful lot more of these channels springing up, and obviously it's because of lockdown. People are finding a way of talking to each other. The thing that I'm finding really encouraging lately is just the amount of people wanting to work together. So you see the amount of channels. I've been on your show, you've been on my show, you've been on loads of other shows, and all these guys are all, everybody's wanting to work together. And I spoke to a couple of other shows who, we're talking about doing stuff with. And it's great to see, that whilst we're all sort of technically competing for viewers, we're all just doing what we love, and we're all passionate about it, and we all want to help each other out. And it's so nice to see fans working together than rather just arguing with each other all the time. So again, as I say, thanks for coming on. So the first thing I want to touch on tonight, obviously, we're supposed to be in a social media blackout, and obviously the football clubs and stuff like that are all doing it, and Arsenal are part of that, with their stop online abuse. I know, G, you have sort of feelings on this. We talked about it the other night, and I just wanted to sort of get both of your takes on it. Do you think that obviously I kind of know part of the answer in the fact that we're on here right now doing this. We're not fully behind it, but do you think it's a worthwhile thing? Do you think it's going to have any impact, or do you think we should be looking at doing something sort of stronger than just not using social media for the weekend? So Jay, I'll let you start us, because you obviously haven't had much of a chance to speak yet.
Yeah. So this whole kind of online abuse, blackout. I'm all for organizations, institutions, taking a stance against online abuse, against any form of abuse, whether it be, sexism, racism, discrimination, whatever it is. It's all wrong, and nobody should be subjected to any abuse, whether that be online or in person, any kind of situation, workplace, etc. But for me, I saw, I think somebody retweeted Gary Neville's tweet, and this is nothing to do with Gary Neville, in a sense. It's just that he posted a picture, and the picture was of, all these kind of institutions and organizations in the background. So you had like UEFA, etc., and it was like, we're all in support of this social media blackout. And I just thought to myself, the hypocrisy just absolutely irritates me, And I have to take it back to the European Super League. I don't want to go there, but I have to take it back to that, in that, there was such an uproar about, the creation of the European Super League. And I think the only people that had a genuine opposition to it for the right reasons was a section of the fans. But all these, big, massive corporations, organizations, institutions that were in uproar, they were only in uproar because it affected their pockets, it affected their wallets, how much they could potentially earn, and all the sanctions that were actually being mentioned, banning players from playing in international games or for their countries, throwing teams out of the Premier League. X amount of millions in terms of fines. And I just thought to myself, I've said on a previous show, where was that energy, when we're trying to eradicate racism from the game? Somebody's racially abused on the pitch, and we're talking about a 10-match ban, or we're talking about a fine worth £10,000, which is literally pocket change for a footballer. But then all of a sudden, it's like they want to jump on this and kind of embrace it. When no disrespect to this movement, I don't like to criticize when people, take action or get involved in something that, is supposed to bring change. But honestly, this 3-day blackout for social media is going to achieve nothing, absolutely nothing, in my opinion. For somebody who has not necessarily been abused online, but somebody who has been subject to discrimination or racism in real life, not giving somebody the tools to do it for 3 days is not going to stop them on the 4th day. So for me, it's completely pointless.
Okay. Anthony, how are you feeling about it?
I completely agree. Yeah, echo everything that G just said there. I like the thought behind it. I like the fact that they're trying something, but is it enough? Like, for me, no, definitely not. We need to be like targeting these people who are offending and taking action against them, not all grouping together and saying, right, we're going to switch our phones off for 3 days. Like, really, what does that achieve? Like, does that educate these people? No, You know, does it make them accountable? No. You know, we all just kind of go into the background and go missing for a couple of days. What does it do? I listened to Ian Wright and Alan Shearer a little bit, and I seen it was a pretty powerful clip that they put out there. And Ian Wright, you know, basically picked up his phone and he said, "Look, this is a message I received today." And he showed Alan Shearer, and Alan Shearer even said, he's like, I can't even read that out. And Ian Wright basically read it out. And, you know, when Shearer sort of asked him, you know, what action do you want? And he said, like, you know, these people need to be educated. You know, it's not that, like, he's looking to go to court and, you know, they're throwing the book at them, they're being locked up. It was like education. And as I said, I like the fact that they're trying something, but, you know, this doesn't change people's mindsets, doesn't change their perspectives. And it was the very same with kind of like the Slavia Prague incident. Like that player has got a 10-match ban, but after 10 games, he comes back and he's, you know, has he had to attend any workshops? Has he had to, you know, is he just sat at home for 10 games? He's still showing up and he's training and he still feels the exact same way as he felt that night when he said what he said to Glenn Kamara. You know, so it doesn't really change anything. And yeah, it kind of, like, the whole Super League sort of made a mockery of everything. Again, as G said, like, you're affecting their pockets and suddenly they're pulling players out of tournaments. Whereas, you know, this guy was able to racially abuse someone and gets a 10-game ban while that player also still gets a suspension. You know, the idea is right. The way they're going about it, yeah, it needs a whole lot of work. And even outside of the whole racism thing, just the general online abuse, people need to be held more accountable. I like the idea of when you sign up for something, you know, you can't hide behind like a false avatar, or you've got to verify your account in some way, whether that be your passport and all that. And then I know people have said, well, that rules out, you know, younger people being on. But to be fair, younger people should not be on these social media platforms. It's not a good place. It's not a healthy place for young kids to be. You know, teenagers and that. Social media is not a healthy place for people to be. You know, you've got to be. I think you've got to be very thick-skinned and have a solid enough mindset, I think, to put yourself out there, especially the likes of what we're doing. You know, you only open your mouth about anything, and you're a target. So, you know, it's a dangerous place at the moment, but it's only like that because these big companies like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, they're allowing it to be like that. They're sitting by idle, and, you know, people are coming out and they're saying, like, it shouldn't be up to the likes of Thierry Henry to leave social media to make a statement. You know, he should be protected from, you know, Instagram, Twitter, whoever. They should be doing more to make sure that doesn't have to happen. You know, it always seems to me it's the people who are the ones who have to go through this are always the ones that end up taking a hit in the long run, because they're the ones that have to leave the platform and they're the ones that have to, you know, distance themselves. But it shouldn't be that way. So I really don't think this is gonna. I don't think it's going to achieve anything, because, as I said, I think a lot of it has to be, you know, these people need to be educated in, you know, what they've done wrong, where they've gone wrong, what way to conduct themselves better in the future. This blackout for 3 days, yeah, I really don't think, as G said, by day 4, they're going to be back on it again. You know, you take 3 days off, you probably come back and your inbox is going to be full of hate and abuse, you know, so. Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, we've talked about it before on the show, obviously, just in terms of like racism and abuse and stuff. In that, you know, I don't know what it's like for you in the south, but obviously growing up in the north, you know, I've experienced, you know, bigotry more than, you know, and sectarianism more than, you know, sort of racial abuse, and you know, even that at times is, you know, it's hard to take when there's no need for it. And it's the same, you know, G's talked about obviously experiencing racial abuse in London. And it's education as you rightly say, it's educating people. It's not, you know, stopping people from, or not asking people to stop social media for a couple of days. Well, it's not going to change anything, because on Monday, you know, those people are going to be back on getting abused, you know, and it's just going to keep happening. We need to educate people, and it needs to be educated at a young age. You know, it needs to be educated in schools and stuff from a very young age. I told the story before of, I used to work for a sign company selling shop signage, and I was on a street in Belfast, and I was walking past a takeaway, it was like an Indian takeaway, and there was two wee fellas ran up to me, and they'd have been probably about 7, 8 years old, and they were, "Here, mate, don't go in there. They're dirty, smelly, such and such." And all I could think was, you know, you're 7 or 8 years old. Where did you learn language like that? And that's been, you know, that's what they've been brought up with, listening to that. So those kids need to be educated, and I think that's how we make a difference, is by getting the education into the youth, getting the kids. And yeah, I mean, you're both right. We need stricter controls on online social media. It can be a really, I hate to use the word toxic environment, but it can be. Mm-hmm. And you do have to be thick-skinned. And I mean, I know someone even said one day, you know, why is there even a dislike button on YouTube? You know,
I think that was actually me, I think, that said that.
It?
Yeah. I put it out there, and I sort of said, you know what, it kind of, as I said, look, not everybody is as thick-skinned as maybe we are, and like we spoke just before we came on about, you know, the nerves when you first start this, you learn to get over that. But the first time you get a dislike, or the first time you get a negative comment, like, you go to bed that night and it's on your mind, and you say, what did I do wrong? What did I say? And to me, of absolutely no issue being criticized in a constructive way. Like there's a comment section there. If there's something that you didn't agree with or didn't like, you know, let me know, and let me know where I can improve. This whole leaving a dislike, it leaves you going, what was that all about? And again, like for people who are, you know, they can deal with it. There's people out there that, you know, that will affect in a bad way. You know, there are people that really take that to heart. And again, I don't see how that is constructive. I mean, anytime I've watched the video and I may have disagreed with the point or whatever, I wasn't feeling it, I've never had an urge to click dislike. I either like it or I move on. You know, I don't see, I just don't see how it's helpful. I really don't.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's kind of, we've talked about that for enough for now. You know, it's a subject that's never going away, realistically. So I mean, it's something we'll probably come back to time and time again, on this show, on other shows. You know, it is something that we'll always be talking about. So we'll run through a couple of these comments before we move on. Chris, evening Chris, this whole social media thing means sod all. It's not going to stop the abusers from carrying on. Twitter and YouTube should be more proactive with banning accounts. Lewis Hamilton taking a weekend off social media isn't going to stop the abusers targeting him or anyone else for that matter. Absolutely. The problem is you delete one account and they set up a new one 5 minutes later. It needs to be done using IP addresses, so the ban is permanent. Yeah, absolutely. And if you post an Arsenal goal on Instagram, you get done for copyright in under 5 minutes. But if you abuse Lacazette or Ian Wright, nothing gets done. For me, Henri was right. But it's time that changed. Absolutely. And sorry, the last one there, Arsenal World. Nice podcast, guy. Well done. How can I message you directly? You can follow us on Twitter at Cannon Chatter, which is our main account, and then there's obviously at SB Cannon Chatter, which is mine, and at G Rants Arsenal, which is Granville. And if you want to follow Anthony, quickly shout yours out there.
Yeah, so you can subscribe to Republic of Arsenal, or again on Twitter, Rep of Arsenal. You can get me.
We'll do this a couple of times, don't worry. So you can directly message us on there, or if you want to, you can email us on stephen@cannonchatter.com or granville@cannonchatter.com, and make sure you like and subscribe. All right, well, I suppose we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to talk about last night. G's warming himself up there. So first things first, we'll bring up the lineup. And I kind of really didn't know how to draw this up earlier on. But the 11 we've gone, or Arteta's gone with. He's gone for Leno in goal, Chambers, Holding, Mari, and Xhaka again at left back, Partey, Ceballos, and then we have Saka, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, and Pepe. For all intents and purposes, we were told that, we thought it was going to be Pepe up front, but obviously from the start it went straight in, and it was very much Smith Rowe as a false 9. Anthony, your time to talk about this. How did you feel about that lineup when you seen it?
I've tried to make a point, especially recently, like recent weeks, that I try not to get drawn into a lineup, because one too many times I put my foot in it and I've looked at a lineup and I said, oh, what is he doing? And then we'll get a result, and then I kind of go, right, another time I'll look at it and say, I like the look at this today, and then we'll get absolutely stuffed. So I kind of try to adopt the attitude of, let's not judge until I've had time to see them kick the ball. This lineup, I'm not going to lie, I didn't say anything, but yeah, I was finding it hard I was biting my tongue with this one. I was actually, I think, in a bit of a state of shock. Like this, first of all, Granit Xhaka at left back, I can't understand why that has gone on past the Sheffield United game. I really thought Sheffield United, he's sticking them there because it's a handy option. You know, Sheffield United were relegated. They're not going to offer anything going forward. You can get away with it for a game. I didn't think this was going to be like an audition for what we were going to see over the coming weeks. I was very surprised to see him play there against Slavia Prague, very surprised to see him play there against Fulham. And I was saying it to everybody, it's a ticking time bomb. It's an accident waiting to happen, because you put him up against anybody with a bit of pace and they're going to do him. And we saw that happen against Everton with Richarlison. He got found out. So, you know, the alarm bells should have been ringing there and then for Arteta. I think one of the main criticisms of Granit Xhaka, even for people who rate him in midfield, is that he's not the most mobile. So it just struck me as absolutely crazy to put a guy who's quite immobile in a central midfield position and stick him at left back. And you're going to put him up against that Nigerian winger Chukwueze, who has bags of pace. And Unai Emery, you know, that was largely an Unai Emery team we put out there last night. And Unai Emery must have been looking at that saying, I've worked with these guys. I know what they can and can't do. He must know Granit Xhaka cannot play left back. And you could see from the beginning, first 5 minutes, they were targeting that left-hand side, Dani Ceballos, who cannot really do defensive duties. Granit Xhaka at left back, who's not a left back. You know, Emery looked at that and said, yeah, this is the way to go. In terms of the rest of the lineup, again, my whole thinking was we go over there and we get as many away goals as we can to take back to the Emirates, because I have no confidence in us playing at the Emirates anymore. Like, the Emirates it's not a fortress by any means. And I'm having flashbacks of last season when it came down to the Olympiacos tie, when we played at home and we bottled it. And I'm just not confident in Arsenal playing at home. I'm really not. I was actually more confident in us getting a result away from home. So yeah, we went over, and my understanding was the idea was grab as many goals as we could. And what did he do? He didn't even play a striker. So I could not get my head around it. I just couldn't. I guess it tells you all you need to know about how he feels about Eddie Nketiah and Martinelli and Balogun, that in our biggest game of the season, again, where you need goals, he won't even play one striker. It just, yeah, I absolutely don't know. And as I said to you earlier, that made me question an awful lot. And we'll probably talk about it all a bit later on in the show. But yeah, I felt a bit of a shift in mindset towards my confidence in Arteta. You know, it's a kind of funny one, because I said to somebody, is like, you know, if that had worked last night, people probably would have said it was a tactical masterclass. But this is the problem: when it backfires, And then you look at it, and there's so many holes in that you can pick at. I'm looking at it, and I'm still in shock. I'm actually still in shock that that's what he went with, because Danny Ceballos as well. Danny Ceballos basically came out there the other day and said, "I'm not good enough to play in the Premier League," and he's starting in a semi-final here. And Odegaard is only back from injury, and Smith Rowe, you're relying on this kid as a false nine. It just completely boggled the mind. And I'm wondering, I know people aren't sold on Cedric Suarez as a left back, but surely Cedric Suarez at left back has got to be more competent a left back than Granit Xhaka. And even if Granit Xhaka was the more solid option, I still prefer Granit Xhaka to be where Danny Ceballos is, and I would rather take my chances with Cedric as a left back if it meant Granit Xhaka in midfield, because I'm okay with Granit Xhaka in midfield. I haven't been one of those people that's been complaining about Xhaka this season. I've seen a lot of good from Xhaka, and I've seen the importance of Xhaka in our side. Again, I just throw it out there. I do agree we can upgrade. We can upgrade on him. I'm not sold that he's the guy, that I'm building my team around. But this season he's been decent. He has been decent. And if you look at the stats, he contributes quite a lot to our forward play. So you're sticking him in left back, and you're Danny Ceballos, and I've never been a fan of Danny Ceballos. I didn't want us to keep him this season. I have a very good friend of mine who's a Real Madrid fan, and he was singing Ceballos praises when we were linked with him. He was really upset. He actually reckoned he was Real's one of their most technically gifted midfielders, but he did say, "Can't see it working in the Premier League." He said he's a La Liga player all over. So I guess to summarise, absolutely boggled my mind with that. So
yeah, absolutely. Gary's looking at dinner there. Wants to know where you are. He wants his dinner. I don't know. Did you see the thing today? Fabrizio Romano has obviously said that Ceballos, the decision has been made. He's going back to Madrid at the end of the season. I'm not going to lie. My first sort of thought was, why put off to tomorrow what you can do today? Away, jump on that plane and head back now. Don't put it off. G, what was your thoughts?
Boy, where do I start? I think Anthony's did a brilliant job at basically, taking apart what for me was an absolute disaster from Arteta last night. But I'll try and add to, like I said, what I think was great in terms of breaking it down. So Leno in goal. He's not been the most consistent this season, but at the end of the day, he is our best goalie. And to be fair, the latter stages of the game, he probably kept us, in the tie, made some decent saves. Chambers, I wasn't too surprised. Like Anthony was saying, I wasn't too surprised at the lineup. I did look at it and I had my question marks, but I thought to myself, you know what? I've done exactly what Anthony's done in the past. I've jumped the gun and I've got it completely wrong. So I thought, you know what? I'm not going to judge. I'll send Stephen a message, let him know what I think, but I'm not going to be too outspoken on it. Now, you've got Chambers. He's running down the wing, as wing back, full back, whatever you want to call it. And he's pinging in crosses. There's no one there. There's no one there in the 6-yard box to finish it. In my opinion, Holding and Mari had a poor game. They both had poor games. I think defensively, there were major gaps between them. For some reason, where it has been working, it didn't quite work yesterday. And it looked as though every single time Villarreal had the ball, they were going to score, particularly in the first 15 to 20 minutes. Somebody needs to get hold of Arteta and tell him Xhaka is not a left back. I literally don't understand who it is, but somebody needs to tell him he's not a left back. And I don't quite understand how a manager who was a professional footballer, who has supposedly come from the Pep Guardiola school of coaching, cannot work out that this geezer cannot play at left back. He got found out, as Anthony and you've said previously, against Richarlison, literally ghosted him, to put that cross in for Leno to go between Leno's legs. And yesterday, you could see, as Anthony said, they literally targeted him from the first second. And what he didn't do yesterday is what he did against Everton, is he didn't jump into the tackle. He just decided to not tackle at all. So he just backed up. The ball broke loose, and then we went 1-0 down. And, I've heard different people talk about, Xhaka has played well. Yeah, listen, he played well against Sheffield United. They're bottom of the league. Like, what player or what players do Sheffield United have to, that will actually, challenge him or be an actual threat? So for me, it's just a completely illegitimate argument to say he played well against Sheffield United. He played there yesterday, and even after the goal, I counted at, because I was watching the match with you, Stephen. I counted at least two times when he gave the ball away. He was in a defensive position. He passed the ball. One of them was he was supposed to pass to Partey, and he played the ball straight to a Villarreal player. It happened twice, and both occasions were in really, really dangerous positions where we could have gone on to concede. We didn't, and so I think that's why people are not really talking about it. For me, he had a poor game, and I don't know whether to really blame him, because really and truly, if he's being asked to play at left back, he can't really go to his coach, well, you know what, I'm not playing. He's kind of got to be professional. He's kind of got to just do a job to his best of his ability. And to be honest, I think he is doing the job to the best of his ability. The problem is he's not a left back. So I find it really difficult to actually criticize him and actually not criticize Arteta, because Arteta picks the team and Arteta picks the players, and tells them where they're supposed to play on the night. So that for me was is an experiment that, you've had your fun. By all means, play him there against Newcastle, because the game doesn't matter. Let's be honest. But in the return leg, if he plays him at left back, I just don't know what I will say or what I will do, because it's just beyond me at this point. Now in midfield, he's got Tobias and Partey. The actual problem is that because he's putting Xhaka at left back, he's actually weakening our already weak midfield. We don't have a strong midfield. Our strongest pivot in the midfield is Partey and Xhaka. So if you're not playing Xhaka in the middle, give the guy a rest. But he's taken Xhaka from the middle to weaken the midfield, to only weaken the left back position. It'd make more sense if he took Saka from up top, put him at left back, where he's played, where he's impressed, and actually put another attacking player up there. It just makes no sense. It's like he's come out and, Tobias has come out and said, he thinks he's going to play in La Liga and all of this, etc., etc. Listen, he's already booked his ticket. He's going back to Madrid. So I don't understand why you would play him in that position of a game of this magnitude. And I don't even want to get started on the attacking situation. No disrespect to Smith Rowe. No disrespect, because he's had a brilliant season for a youngster coming into the team. I think it was just after Christmas, and he more or less, inspired what I would call a mini kind of, uprise in form for the team. But Joe Willock has got more goals than him. So I don't understand the logic. For the first time in the entire season, you're going to play him as a false nine. I've never seen Smith Rowe play as a false nine. Maybe I've got a bad memory, but I've never seen him play as a false nine. I've not seen it this season. And for me, when I looked at the lineup, I thought, well, he has to be playing Pepe as the false nine, because out of all those players, it would make logical sense if he was the front man, but he wasn't. He has Balogun on the bench. He has Balogun was available. Martinelli was available. Eddie was available. And Aubameyang he brings on in the 85th minute when the game's already done. And I'm just thinking to myself, you've not played a striker. Like, what sense does it make, to go away from home and not play a striker? So, if anybody didn't have their doubts before last night's game, and you didn't wake up this morning with any doubts about Arteta, then you're going to have to get your head tested. Because, I'm not sitting here and saying that I am Arteta out, because I always try to be as optimistic. I always try to be as positive as possible. And I don't really see the point in just jumping on the whole bandwagon and saying, Arteta out. It's just poisonous. It's just toxic. And nothing against people that are Arteta out, because believe you me, I fully understand why you are Arteta out. But for me, there are bigger problems within the club. And I don't think it's all to do with Arteta. But at the end of the day, last night's game, massive question marks about just his rationale and his common sense. Not even coaching ability, just his common sense, you know, as a human being. I don't understand how he looked at that side and where those players were playing and didn't think, you know what, this could work, but this could also really, really backfire. So yeah, not impressed.
I think
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
I'm on mute. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I muted myself. I needed to cough. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was just saying that obviously Gary's firing a lot of questions here. Don't waste the tweet. I've sort of flashed it on the screen, but what did Arteta get right last night? Virtually nothing. And funny, this was something I was going to mention. You know, Arteta saw the blue shirts and thought, I got Kevin De Bruyne in inverted 9. Yeah, that's good, right? I ask you, why were we playing in blue last night? I know it's a trivial point, but why were we playing in blue when they were in yellow? Why did we just play in red?
Is it because our away shirt is white and it would have clashed with our yellow? I think because you're not.
Yeah, but we could have worn the home. You know, it just it makes no
I think do they have a rule against that where you can't wear the home shirt or something? I don't know. There is a crazy shirts. Like the amount of times we've had to wear different color shorts and that in European games. It's
Chris asking, do you think Arteta played for a 0-0 draw? Did seem he wanted to fill the midfield with hope of controlling the ball, but then once they scored, why wasn't there changes at half time? I mean, do you think that's possible? He set up for a 0-0 draw?
You know, I didn't think he set up for a 0-0 draw. I think he set up to contain. I did say that actually when I looked at the lineup. I did tweet that. I sort of said it feels to me as though, you know, when you looked at the bench and you seen there was a couple of impact subs there, you know, Martinelli and Aubameyang. We know Aubameyang wasn't fully fit, but, you know, even if you could get him on for 5-10 minutes, we saw at the end of the game he had an opportunity.
Yeah,
he didn't take it, but even if he's not fully fit, he has that ability to pop up. And even Nketiah is the same. He's just that kind of guy. He could just pop up at the right place at the right time. So I felt as though the plan was, let's try contain possession. Let's try maybe pack the midfield. Just keep the ball, keep them at bay as best we can. Which, if that was the case, it makes me question even more. You know, maybe why not El Neni instead of Ceballos? You know, if that was the case, there's a lot of questions I think need to be asked of Arteta. And G was spot on. Like, as I said earlier, I've never been Arteta out. I've never been Arteta in, but I know a lot of people would know I would be, I guess you would say, an Arteta sympathizer, because I've always looked at the bigger picture and, you know, the overall job and, you know, what he's got to work with, what he doesn't have. But yeah, last night it left me questioning an awful lot, and I kind of joked a few times that, you know, maybe he looks at this squad, and I guess we all have a bit of a bias. Maybe, you know, in your workplace, maybe you've worked somewhere and you move somewhere else, and you kind of compare, you know, the crew you worked with before to the new crew, and you get to know them, you get to like them, you get to trust them, and you start saying, you know what, they're every bit as good as the guys I worked with before, you know, if not better. And I feel like at times Arteta looks at guys on the training ground like Granit Xhaka and Dani Ceballos, and because he trusts them now and he knows them and they're his guys, they're his players, I almost feel as though he's looking at them and going, this guy is every bit as good as Kevin De Bruyne on his day. You know, when he showed up here on Monday, he was every bit as good as Rodri and this player and that player. But the reality is they're not. And it's another thing that always worries me when people say, you know, when you hear the coach say, like, he trained really well and he's done this in training. Like when he was justifying Willian being in the team and he was saying, well, he's training well and he's doing this. And then I sit back and I kind of go, yeah, but who is he training against? You know, look at the players. He's training against the Arsenal squad. So obviously he's going to look good in training because, with all due respect, the squad is crap. You know what I mean? So Aubameyang might bang in goals in training because he's running rings around David Luiz and Holding and that, you know, the same guys who are going to get run around by the forward that we play against on a Saturday or Sunday. So it's easy to look good in training. It's easy to make an impression, So so many questions. I've so many questions of Arteta.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, I was watching the training video today, and even Runnerson looked good in training. So you're absolutely right in what you're saying. I'm kind of conscious that we've already been on 40 minutes, and we're not even through this game. So there's kind of two instances I want to talk about, and I'll give you one each to talk about rather than us all talking about them all together as well. I mean, obviously, there was a couple of penalties for Arsenal. The first one, Pepe's was disallowed, obviously, because of the handball, rightly so. So no complaints over that. G, what did you make of the penalty that was given?
Yeah, for me, it was a penalty. I'm very much of the old school mindset where, when I used to play Saturday and Sunday league, football was football in terms of you couldn't get away with, any of the stuff that the players get away with week in, week out in the Premiership where, they get touched and they fall over like they've been shot with a Uzi, or a machine gun. It's crazy. So, I've always not been a fan of when players go down easy or when they look for contact in the penalty box or anywhere in and around the pitch. But at the end of the day, this is the nature of the game. And I do feel as though personally it was a soft penalty. I do think that Saka wasn't really going anywhere, and he kind of left his leg, hanging in that kind of vicinity for him to get clipped, for him to go down. But it's a penalty because at the end of the day, the law states, there's contact in the penalty area, the player goes over, it's a penalty. So, personally, I would say it was a bit soft, but that's from my personal perspective. But as soon as he went down and I saw the replay, for me, it's a penalty because we see them being given week in, week out in the Premier League and around Europe. And we've seen softer penalties. When I say softer penalties than that given in recent football matches. So for me, penalty all day.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Gary just saying Arsenal had 2 shots on target. Only one I remember is obviously the 5th minute. If Arsenal has to depend on penalty kicks, we're in trouble. Not sure VAR in London likes us. I don't think VAR likes us anywhere. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we can't be relying on penalties. So, Anthony, then the other incident sort of I wanted to look at very quickly was, and you've already made it clear he's not one of your favourite players, was Dani Ceballos' sending off. I mean, the 2 yellow cards, did you think, first of all, they were yellows? Do you think he deserved to be sent off?
Just really quickly on the penalty, I actually believe it shouldn't have been a penalty, and I believe Saka completely played for it. And I get what you're saying, G. I do completely get, but it's something that I got into with a guy that said to me, "Well, every other team gets it," and I said, I understand it, but I think if we all have that mentality, the game will never change because it's starting to become, well, if your team is going to dive, our team's going to dive, and I get criticised the whole time because I always call our players out for doing it. Like Dani Ceballos got that penalty against Everton. That was the most blatant dive I've seen, and I know it was disallowed because of Pepe being offside, but it was disgraceful. And I've said this about Saka, and I love the guy, absolutely love him, but I'm seeing him going down an awful lot lately, very, very easy. And yeah, a couple of the angles I saw today, I do believe he look, the media would call it clever, but for me, yeah, it's a sneaky one. You throw your leg out. And again, it's happened to us, it has. And I just, look, whether it happens to us or whether we do it, I don't like it. And yeah, I think we got off very lucky. So I think VAR gave us one there, as much as we give out about VAR. But with the red card, it was coming for Danny. If it didn't happen there, I think it would have happened. But I thought the second one was a bit unfair. I thought he was a little bit unlucky. You could see players were sliding all over the place on that pitch last night, and I think he was a bit unfortunate with that one. I don't think there was. I know that there was contact. I don't know if he meant it though. You know what I mean? I think he was a bit. It was a bit of a late, silly kind of a tackle. I think he lost his footing, made contact. Unfortunately, this is the same as the penalties by the letter of the law. If the contact is there, There was an absolute shocker in a game earlier, wasn't it? Bednarek, I don't know if you saw that on Jamie Vardy.
No, I didn't see it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, basically he lost control of the ball and it broke, and he put the leg out and he won the ball and cleared it, but went through on Vardy and he got sent off. They brought it back because there was contact, even though he'd got the ball first and cleared the ball, but followed through on Vardy's ankle. And that's just the way the game has gone. And this is why I have a major issue with VAR, because with every VAR decision, you've only got to be able to justify there was contact, and it doesn't really matter anymore whether the contact was accidental or whether it was intentional, just the fact that there was contact. And I feel like VAR is promotes players going down, and it promotes players taking this chance, with the likes of penalties especially. You go into the box, and if you in any way feel like, look, I'm running this ball out of play or I'm going to lose this, just go down, because if it goes to the camera check, you can justify, you can say, well, there was contact, I think players are saying, well, look, it's a 50-50. They'll either say yes or no. And yeah, VAR, it drives me mad. And the same with like that, there's been some really, really bad ones. I think Dani Ceballos was just kind of another one to add to. There's been a few poor ones. Wasn't it West Ham as well? Was it Balbuena?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a bad one. Again, any form of contact now, they're literally, I think they're doing everything in their power to make this a non-contact sport.
Yeah. Do you remember the David Luiz one where, like, I think was it against Wolves? I don't even know who it was against.
Yeah, Wolves,
and the striker's leg clipped David Luiz's knee, and he got a red card and a penalty, and it's just like,
yeah,
I don't think anybody's sure what the rules are anymore, really.
Yeah, I think the problem is like we said, the letter of the law, if there's contact, but like, I think the letter of the law, it can't be so black and white. It can't be there was contact, therefore it is. It's got to be, okay, there was contact, but that David Luiz one, for example, where did the contact come from? Who initiated the contact? It was the guy kicking the ball, David Luiz. It's
common
madness.
sense, isn't it?
Common sense,
and a bit of discretion.
Yeah. So look, for that Dani Ceballos one, I thought, look, a bit of common sense with that decision. He wouldn't have been sent off, but it was on the cards. It really was, and I didn't like that Arteta said, well, I had a guy warming up to come on just before that happened. I was like, I'm not really buying that. I don't think so. He would have left Dani Ceballos out there till about the 88th minute, like if he could. I think the referee, I crossed my mind, he might be an Arsenal fan. Maybe he's trying to do us a favour and get this guy off the pitch, because you're probably better off without him. But I thought it was a little bit harsh. But look, if it didn't come there, it was probably gonna come at some stage anyway.
To be fair, we did play better without him. But yeah, it is what it is. So I mean, overall, 2-1. It's not the worst result in the world. We can still go back to the Emirates and do your job. I ran a poll earlier on Twitter. You may have seen it, obviously asking just what the general feeling was. 73% returned the result that they think Arsenal will qualify. So, I mean, confidence is still high amongst the fan base. G, what do you think? Do you think we'll qualify? Simple yes or no?
No.
Okay. Anthony?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Fair enough. Well,
I actually voted no, just to let you know. Yeah, I did. I had to be honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do you know what? Let's hope these are both wrong.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Next Thursday night, we're sitting going.
Definitely.
Happy days. We've got a European final to look forward to. Okay. Typical Arsenal that we struggle while we then see United scoring 6 past Roma. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, kind of conscious of time, but I still think we need to lighten the mood a little and have a little bit of fun.
Yeah. Whoosah. Get it out.
I can just see G's worrying here. So Anthony, what we like to do, you may have seen, obviously, is when we have guests on, we like to play a little bit of a quiz. And we've come up with a name for this, which G really enjoys. Do you want to sing the theme tune, G?
Take on, how's it go? Take on G, take on G, take me on down, or something like that.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
So a bit of fun. This is a wee feature.
Brilliant.
This week I thought we would have a question quiz rather than the picture quiz, which we've done a couple of times when we've done a question quiz. Quick comment there from Gary. Just remember, Arsenal are telling surprises us. I hope Thursday was a bad surprise and next Thursday will be the good surprise. Absolutely. Okay, right. Let's have our quiz. So I have two sets of questions. Set A and set B. Anthony, as a guest, you get to pick. Which set of questions would you like?
Ooh, we'll go with B.
B?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go first or second?
I'll let you go first.
I'll let you go first. So you're going with B, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, B for G.
Right.
Get Google ready, yeah? Where's my Google?
Question set A. Get those hands away from the computer. Those watching at home, anybody wants to join in, fire your answers into the comments.
Very bad at
quizzes.
the guys very bad.
Right, G. Question 1. Before Ian Wright broke the record in 1997, who was Arsenal's all-time leading scorer?
Oh my God! Listen, I started supporting the club because of Ian Wright, so I don't even know who it was. Was it Alan
Anybody
Smith?
in the chat? No. Anthony?
Oh God, lads, I'm so bad at quizzes.
All I could think of was Alan Smith.
It's a really old player, isn't it? I think like a real old, like way before my time anyway. That's as much as I know. I don't think it's anyone that's around kind of.
All right. Well, we've got two in the chat. I've got it. We've got Cliff Baston, not Baskin, but yes, you're right.
Baston.
And PJ Nairn,
I know that player as well.
Absolutely right. Yeah. So no one got that.
Yeah, but you know
Right,
what? Like, how old are these guys that are getting these questions right? Do you know what I mean?
Philip, I knew the answers, and I'm only a couple of years older than you.
Yeah, how old are you?
2 years older than you. Just suck it. Right. G, question 2. In the 1992-93 season, which team did Arsenal play in both the League Cup and FA Cup final?
I'll just go with my gut and say Chelsea.
No. Anthony?
I don't know.
Oh, this is going to be way wrong. I remember I was playing Ipswich in the Cup at some stage. Wasn't that one, was it?
No. Anybody in the chat want to have a guess?
Here they go.
Chris, Sheffield Wednesday.
Oh, God.
These man got Google. Trust me.
Yeah, well, this is
These man got Google.
But
How many questions do I get, Stephen?
There's 5 questions.
Oh, mate, I need to get one right. Come on, man.
This is going to be like one of those penalty shootouts where nobody scores and it keeps going into next goal wins. Like,
just ask me an easy question like, where is Kanu from? Nigeria or something like that. Come on, man.
I'd probably still get that wrong.
There's a fellow playing for Sheffield Wednesday. He was the England striker who missed the penalty in the World Cup in '90.
Ooh.
I'm trying to remember his name.
Chris Waddle?
Yes, Chris Waddle. That's right.
Do we get a point?
No. No bonus points. No bonus points. No.
All right.
It's shocking. Okay. I won't get one Arsenal question right, but I got a Sheffield Wednesday question right.
G, question 3. What team did Arsenal face in Unai Emery's first competitive match in charge?
I think I know this.
I ain't got a clue, man.
Gonna have to push you.
Villa.
No. Anthony, you got a guess?
Newcastle.
No.
Oh.
No.
Who was it?
Anybody want one more guess? Just pick a team. Pick a random team. Come on.
Oh no, United.
No.
I'm trying to think. Did we first competitive game?
It was in the Premier League.
God, who did we play?
Could have been any one of the 20.
Do you know what? I was nearly full sure it was Newcastle because I remember going out to the pub to watch it and we won 1-0. I could have sworn that was his first game. I think that was the first
game.
That was the first game. Was it the second season?
City.
Well done, PJ Nez. It was Man City. Because we played City, then we played Chelsea, and then we played Newcastle.
PJ Nez, he needs to go on Mastermind.
Yeah. Right. G, you should get this one. Question
You say
4.
that. You say that.
Who scored for Arsenal in the 2006 Champions League final?
So Campbell.
Yes.
What?
Well done. 1 point.
So, to be honest, I could not get that wrong though. To be honest.
Right.
You know
G,
what?
your
I don't want to admit this online, but I actually cried when we lost that game.
Yeah, we all did. Don't worry about it.
We all
I
did.
did. So Campbell, man, come on.
Yeah.
Right,
Get
G,
him.
question 5.
Go on.
Who scored the final league goal at Highbury?
Was it Tony Adams? No?
No. Anthony?
Thierry Henry, wasn't
It was Thierry Henry.
it? Yeah.
Does that mean he gets a
Well
point?
done.
Wigan.
He gets a point. It's all right, G. You can still get points on his.
Come on.
I'm just relieved I got 1. I'm happy now.
It's your turn now, Anthony.
No pressure.
Question set B, just to show. So, Anthony, question 1. Who became Arsenal captain in 2002 after Tony Adams retired?
It was hardly Vieira, was it?
Is that your answer?
Yeah, I go Vieira.
You're right. It was Patrick Vieira.
Wow, well done.
Oh, my
Well
heart.
done. Well done.
I was trying to think. You know what? You know when you're thinking like 2002 was a long time ago, and you're going, well, was it that long? Like,
Yeah. Well
It
done,
was
man.
18 years ago. What age would you have been 18 years ago?
oh God, quick maths. No.
I think I was like 2.
Yeah, there
Aye.
we go.
Who? My arse. All right. Question 2. Who was Arsenal's goalkeeper during the 2003-2004 unbeaten Premiership season?
Jens Lehmann.
Come on.
Absolutely.
No, man.
I picked the good questions there.
No.
Good. 2 question sets to make it fair. Right. What club? Question 3. What club was record signing Pepe bought from?
Lille.
Yes.
No, this is a stitch up. I'm getting questions about Cliff Bastard and he's getting questions about Pepe. What? No.
This is a VAR job.
No.
It's all right. There's still 2 questions left. Okay.
Mate.
Question 4. How many Premier League titles have Arsenal won?
Oh, Premier League. I think it's only 3. Right?
Final answer?
I don't know.
I think it's
I
only
actually don't
3.
know.
Yeah, I think 98, 2000, and 2004-ish. Yeah, I'm going to go 3. I think it's 3.
You're correct. It's 3.
Yeah, I'll probably have the dates wrong. Oh, no, the Invincibles. I remember the 98 and then...
Did Wenger win all 3?
Mm.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, I thought so, yeah. Mate, 5-1. Is it 5-1?
It is currently 5-1, G.
Nah, you stitched me up, Stephen, man.
Wait, you seen the questions? You seen the 2 sets? Right.
Stitch
Last
me up.
question then. To see if you can get a clean sweep of your own questions, Anthony. Question 5. Who is the youngest person to win a Premier League medal for Arsenal?
The youngest. Ooh. is it Fabregas?
No.
Oh, it's not Fabregas.
Fabregas
Is it
never
Nicolas
won the league with
Anelka?
Arsenal. It's not, no.
Okay.
Right. So I'll pass it back to you, Anthony, but I'm going to give you a multiple choice. So Nicolas Anelka was one of the multiple choices I had written down. So the other three options are Jermaine Pennant, Gail Clichy, or Theo Walcott.
Ooh, because I know we signed Pennant when he was 16. I'm just gonna go. Theo Walcott never won a Premier League. I'm just gonna guess Pennant and say he was in the squad in around that time.
No. G, your chance to get a point back here. You're left with Clichy or Walcott.
It's got to be Clichy.
Yeah, that's be.
It is.
Clichy.
It is. Well done. You get the point,
Some
G.
pride. Some pride.
So, Anthony, you took on G and you beat him 5-2. Well done.
I'll take that.
You have to take this outside, you know.
Out of the quiz, G. Come on.
No, it's good, man. It's good fun. Well done, man. Well done.
That was
Put your
good.
clean chin. Come on.
Take on G. Take on G. Take me on.
Oh, brilliant. Right.
Oh, good.
So just a little bit of fun to sort of lighten the mood after that.
We need it.
Absolutely. Right. So, Sunday then, we go away to Newcastle. And I kind of feel, and I've said before, I think it's kind of, these are almost like dead rubbers now. And for me, it's sort of I think you should be starting to look at experimenting with some of the youth, you know, given the likes of Aziz, Balogun, Joel Lopez, maybe even Repke or whatever he's called, the defender, you know, maybe bringing him in, you know, giving some of these guys a chance, certainly playing the likes of Matt Ryan to see if it's worth keeping him for next season, you know. How we're going to base a decision on bringing him in on 2 games, I don't know. So, obviously, we'll go straight into it. I mean, Anthony, we'll bring up your predicted lineup here, and if you want to talk us through sort of your thoughts behind it and your thoughts about the game, then.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm sort of saying this is the game you should have been experimenting in, not the Villarreal game. So if you're going to do something crazy like play around with no strikers and stuff, this is the game you should have done it. I was kind of actually looking at this team after I'd sent it over to you, and I actually completely forgot Willian was an Arsenal player, so maybe he'd be in there instead of Bukayo Saka, maybe. But yeah, I went with Matt Ryan in goal because we saw him, you know, get a run out against Fulham. So I kind of thought, like, you know, what have you got to lose, really? This game is more important from a Newcastle perspective. So I thought maybe, look, it's an opportunity. Throw Matt Ryan in there. We got to make a decision about him at the end of the season. Are we gonna make it a permanent deal? Newcastle have to go for it. So I imagine they're going to come at us and they're going to test them a little bit. So we might get to see a little bit of Matt Ryan, hopefully. Again, I think Bellerin, is going to come back in because he played Chambers the other night. Holding and Gabriel. Again, Gabriel, I'm expecting to come back. I don't know what the deal is with David Luiz, whether he's going to be fit to play. Maybe he will. Cedric, I threw in at left back because I just thought surely he's not going to go with Granit Xhaka again. And I know you could probably argue, you know, Newcastle, maybe look Saint Maximin if they stick him on that side. Yeah, that's going to cause issues for Granit Xhaka. But I just think maybe the pressure might be a little bit too much after the other night to stick Xhaka in. I do think Xhaka's still going to play because the guy just plays every single game. He's got some kind of incriminating evidence on Arteta, something in his contract that he's got to play every single game. I don't know what is going on. I feel like I was going to put Martinelli in, but I feel like he needs to change his name to Xhakanelli to maybe get a run out. So I don't know. Will he play him again? El Neni, I just think you can't really play Ceballos again. You know, I think Ceballos has got to sit this out. Yeah, Aubameyang, I think, is going to come in. Just he needs the minutes. Look, I sort of threw Pepe, Smith Rowe and Saka in there, but that could easily be Martinelli, Odegaard, and maybe Willian. But I just kind of went with those guys. Maybe just keep a bit of consistency. Maybe try to build up a bit of confidence before the Villarreal game. But yeah, I don't know. I started looking at my own team now, kind of questioning, kind of go, maybe he won't go with us. But look, it's kind of a team I'd like to see. I think it's a dead rubber game, but at the same time, I'd still like to see us, be out there and be competitive. So I think that kind of gives a bit of a balance, bit of rotation, and still a bit of a competitive edge.
Okay. Question there for you from PJ Nez. Is Bellerin back up to Chambers now?
I reckon so, yeah. Yeah, we haven't seen an awful lot of Bellerin. It seems as though it could be true. He could be off in the summer. And maybe this is Arteta's way of preparing for life without Bellerin. I don't know what's going on with Cedric. He can't get a look in. And I thought he was quite good at right back. And Chambers has been perfectly fine. But I really can't understand what's going on with Cedric. But Bellerin, it's looking like he's probably got one foot out the door.
Yeah. And there's a wee shout as well from Ryan. I'd love to see Nelson get some minutes. I mean, either you two guys think Nelson deserves a chance?
Yeah.
I was very close to actually picking Nelson to play on the right. Okay. I was very close.
Let's have a look at who you did pick. Go ahead, talk us through.
Yeah, so for me, just kind of like a lot of what Anthony said makes sense for me. I think we're coming to the end of the season, and in terms of our league campaign, this game is probably going to have very little. Well, it's not going to have much, of an impact in terms of where we finish. But at the same time, I think after the disappointing result, it would be good to get a win. At the same time, I can't help but just think about Thursday. Our season is just so. It's just so dependent on how that game goes. And, as you could tell earlier in the show, I'm not very confident. So for me, I feel as though the play, I don't know whether, obviously, we've spoken about the formation and so forth, and the personnel being a problem and Arteta making, a huge mistake with that. But a part of me just thinks like, were the players tired? Were they fatigued? What was it the magnitude of the game? So yeah, I just think this game really and truly is just a nothing game. And moving ahead of Thursday, I just think we need to keep all our players fit. The players that are on the verge of coming back, I don't see the point really in risking them. Maybe bring them on in the second half, maybe latter stages of the game to give them a couple of minutes. So I've gone with this team. Like Anthony said, we need to make a decision on Ryan. At the end of the day, we need a backup goalkeeper, maybe even possibly two next season, because from what I saw of Renarsson, I just can't see him ever getting another game for Arsenal. So we need to make a decision on Ryan. So why not play him against Newcastle? Because we're not going to play him against Villarreal. So we might as well see him get a run out against Newcastle. I put Bellerin because Chambers, as far as I can see, is our first choice right back. Give him a rest, play Bellerin. He's gone this summer. That's more or less been confirmed. So why not play him, see what he can do? Maybe, get a couple more million for him, in the transfer window. I've gone with Holding and Murray. And the reason why I've gone with those two is because I personally feel like they had really bad games last night. And I'm not really sure who I would pick on Thursday against Villarreal. I can't criticize Arteta for picking these two because I do feel as though they've played well together. And I do think Murray, is in better form than Gabriel. But I just think maybe the pace of Villarreal, maybe Gabriel might be more suited on Thursday night. And it's crazy to say this, and I never thought I'd ever say this as an Arsenal fan, but I think if David Luiz is fit, he needs to kind of get some minutes against Newcastle and potentially start against Villarreal. Because I do think if it was me, I probably would go with Luiz and Gabriel for the Villarreal game. But yeah, that's why I picked those two. Cedric for me again, like Anthony, I think he's got to play. He's got to play at left back, isn't he? Like if he starts with Xhaka again at left back, then I just really don't know. I don't know what else to say. I think I've seen a lot of people's reaction online to say they think Cedric's been poor. I don't know what they've been watching. I think Cedric's been good. I think when he's played at right back, I think he's linked up really well with Pepe on many occasions. I think even at left back. There were a few times when he looked quite awkward in terms of getting the ball into the box, but he tries hard, he works hard. He kind of gives everything when he's on the pitch. So for me, I don't really know what happened. I can't even really recall what the turning point was, because he was playing, he was getting games, and all of a sudden he's just not even had a sniff. But I just think, at this stage, I would play him. I would have been playing him before, but I pick him every week, and he never plays, but I'd continue to pick him. In midfield, obviously people are saying about Aziz and so forth. And yeah, I was tempted to kind of go with some of the youngsters, but I just think at this stage, really and truly, I picture bias, but really and truly, I shouldn't have picture bias. I don't really know what I was thinking, really. I think El Nene's got to go this summer. He's not good enough as far as I'm concerned. And I think maybe, playing him, I think we have to think about, putting these players in the shop window to a certain extent. And I think, giving El Nene a game at this stage without risking some of our better midfield options is probably wise. But yeah, I can definitely see justification to playing one of the youngsters. So I did picture bias just because I don't want Xhaka and Partey to play in this game. I think Xhaka needs a rest completely. If anything, if you're going to play him in midfield. But I think Partey, he's kind of played quite a few games now back to back. I know he's missed a lot of the season, but the last couple of games have been back to back. So I'd probably give him a rest against Newcastle. So in the number 10 position, I've gone with Odegaard. I think, we might as well get use out of him for this match. I can't see him staying in the summer. I can't see Real Madrid parting ways with him. And I just think, give Smith Rowe a rest ahead of the Villarreal game and play him in the number 10 position. I said to you earlier, Stephen, that this is probably the lineup I've least enjoyed picking because I've picked players that I don't even really want to be at the club. But I can't help but think, Thursday's huge. So, that it's just a reason to kind of pick a team that can potentially beat Newcastle, but, potentially not get injured, etc., etc. So I've gone with Willian on the right. Just because I don't want to risk playing Pepe or Saka, to be honest. We need them fit ahead of the Villarreal game. I've gone with Martinelli on the left, just because I don't think Aubameyang's going to be fit to play there. And I'm pretty gobsmacked why he didn't play against Villarreal. And I just think, when he's come on, he's looked sharp. Like he's not necessarily, been massively influential in the game and stuff, but he's looked sharp, he's looked fit when he's come on. So I just think, give him a run out against Newcastle, see what he can do. And up front, I've gone with Balogun. The guy signed the contract. He's going to be part of Arsenal's, future for the next kind of 3 to 4 years. And give him a go against Newcastle. Play him or play Eddie, for this game. Play a striker. That's all I ask. It's common sense for me. So I would go with Balogun, but again, it would have been Balogun or Eddie and Nketiah. I can't see Lacazette being ready. But like Anthony said, it's like there's a lot of kind of arguments, where you could say you could tweak that lineup, and you could say, because a part of me was really tempted to put a full strength team out, because I do think we're lacking in confidence. We've lost to Everton, we've lost to Villarreal, so maybe this would be a good opportunity to throw all the big players in, actually, get a performance, get a result, ahead of the Villarreal game. But then the other part of me just thinks, be cautious, because really the Newcastle game means nothing and the Villarreal game is everything. So that's my team.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, very quickly then, Anthony, score prediction.
I'd like to say we're going to beat Newcastle, but yeah, given the form we're on, and how much the game matters to us, and how much it actually matters to Newcastle, I'm going to say Newcastle are going to sneak this 1-0.
Right, okay. Fair enough. G?
Same. I think we're going to lose this. I think regardless of who Arteta puts out, I don't think the players are going to be up for this game. Not in comparison to the Newcastle side. So I think we're going to lose this 1-0 or 2-1.
Okay. I have one sort of final question for the two of you before we wrap things up. If we lose on Thursday night, there's 4 games left. Firstly, have you any interest in those 4 games? And secondly, if we lose, is it time for Arteta to go? Anthony?
Being completely honest, I already have no interest in the league games that we've had. I think I said it to you, Stephen, when you came on my channel. The Fulham game, the Sheffield United game, even prior to that, I was going through the motions, watching the games as a fan. There was, you know what, I'll be honest, there was 1 or 2 I enjoyed because I felt these are nothing games, so I can sit here and just be invested in watching a game of football, and the result didn't matter, you know. So I wasn't going to get upset if we didn't win or whatever, you know. And I was able to kind of kick back and just go. It sort of felt like just watching a friendly. It's just an enjoying game of football. Have a couple of beers and just chill, and the end result doesn't really mean anything. So I guess I'll try to convince myself to look at it that way. I suppose, you know, just kick back, chill. It doesn't really mean anything. I just enjoy it for what it is. But yeah, I'm not going to be overly interested. If we do get knocked out, I guess, look, I still feel the same as I did when we were going through that bad run in around Christmas time when we went 7 games out of win. I fully believed Arteta is going to get to at least probably the best part of half of next season, unless we start and we lose our first 5 games on the bounce or whatever. I always believe that, you know, whether we win this Europa League or we get knocked out, whether we hadn't got out of group stages, I feel like they were always going to give Arteta this season and see how he gets through the summer and gets into next season. So I don't think it's really going to change everything. It's going to put more pressure on him from the fan base, but see, the problem is the pressure doesn't come from the boardroom, and that's the problem with Arsenal. There's no pressure coming from the top. So, you know, maybe if he was under a little bit more pressure and his job was actually at risk, he wouldn't be taking the risks that he took last night, and it might have been a bit more serious. So yeah, I think regardless, we're going to be starting next season with Arteta.
I mean, as I said to you last night on your show, I think the biggest pressure on Arteta now is the pressure on him he feels on himself by his peers, you know, the likes of Wenger and Pep Guardiola coming out and saying, oh, you know, this guy's brilliant, he's got all it takes to be a top coach. And I think that pressure is getting to him more than anything else. And I think he, you know, as I said last night, he's guilty of overcoaching people to the point where he's literally kicking every ball for them and not letting them express themselves. Jay, same question to you then. You know, have you any interest in the last few games? And, you know, what do you think, Arteta? Should he go, or do we give him a bit more time?
You know, it's very similar to what Anthony said. Nah. In terms of interest of the games, no. Will I watch them? Yes. And that's just because I'm an Arsenal fan. And I can't help myself but watch the games. And I think, like, very similar to what Anthony said as well. Even though they've not been very much interested in terms of a competitive nature, where I'm thinking, okay, you know, we're on the verge of top 4 or we could win the championship. They are still kind of enjoyable just to watch a game, and then not really be that kind of pressure, or, you know, you kind of, you know, as a fan, you just, you know, even if you lose interest, you still will watch the games, you know, and you still will follow the results. So, no real interest in the games, but I will watch them, and that's just because I'm a fan, and that's something I've always done. With regards Arteta, if he loses against Villarreal, in my opinion, he should be fired. This is a performance business. This is a results business. And although I don't agree with a lot of people in terms of the quality of this squad, because the quality of this squad for me is not what it should be. It's not a team that should win, that will win the Premier League or even challenge the top 4. But it's not the 10th best team in the league. No way. You cannot convince me and tell me that the likes of Leicester, West Ham, you know, and Aston Villa have better squads man for us. So for me, if he loses against Villarreal, he should be fired. But will he be fired? No.
Okay. Great. Right. Thank you. So guys watching live, any last questions or comments, drop them in now. Where do we go? I missed out in the last show. I forgot to mention our sponsor, the Match Day, so I have to make sure I mention them tonight again. So we are sponsored by the Match Day, www.thematchdayshop.com. If you don't want to spend your money in Arsenal shops, spend it there. Get your memorabilia, get your Arsenal merchandise from Dan. Okay, G, do you want to take us through your nice famous close?
Yeah, no problem. So thank you guys for watching, whether you're watching live or catching up with us at a later date or time. You can follow us on all our social media. So we've got Facebook, which is Cannon Chatter, Instagram, which is @Cannon_Chatter. I say it every time. I'm not too familiar with Twitch, but if you are, jump on there, give us a follow. That's Cannon Chatter. And most of you know us from Twitter. So we have our main Twitter account, which is @Cannon Chatter. We also have our own kind of personal football related accounts. So with Stevens is @SB Cannon Chatter, and mine is @GRantsArsenal. Please do, obviously, if you enjoy the content, please do subscribe, turn on those notifications, and hit that like button. And yeah, Anthony, I guess hand over to you to give yourself a little shout out.
Yeah, lads, first of all, I want to say, I really, really enjoyed it tonight. As I said, it can be nice to have a bit of therapy, get it off your chest, and it's always nice to go home after winning the quiz as well. So I definitely that might be the only trophy I'll be seeing for a long time. But it's been great fun. It really has been a great chat. So I really enjoyed it. But if you wanted to. Do you know what? Funny enough, I am also on Twitch, and I also have absolutely no idea how it works. I just know that when I go live, it goes out to Twitch. I just click the button, it goes to Twitch, and the rest I have absolutely no idea. But yeah, you can find me on Twitch, or you can subscribe to the YouTube channel Republic of Arsenal, or as you can see the handle under there, Rep of Arsenal on Twitter. So shoot me over a message and say hello.
Brilliant. Listen, Anthony, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We've really enjoyed having you on, and we'll definitely get you back on again.
Definitely.
For anybody who doesn't follow Anthony and you want to check out his stuff, there is actually, if you look in the description below, you'll see links to both his Twitter page and his YouTube page. So you just need to click on those links, and that'll bounce you across to his stuff. Okay, so last couple of comments then from Chris. I think Arteta will get the summer window, and unless it's a really bad season start, he will get it until December, I think. Yeah. Gary, don't waste a tweet. If Laka and Alba are healthy, who starts? Anthony?
If it's for Newcastle, I'd start both of them, just to get the minutes in the legs and hopefully find a bit of form. Maybe throw obviously Laka up top, maybe Aubameyang out on the left. Just build a bit of. Hopefully a bit of form, a bit of confidence, get the minutes in the legs, and at least then, I'm not saying you're going to start both of them against Villarreal, but at least then you have the option.
Okay, excellent. G, last one for you then, from Chris. Question for you: who would you bring in as a replacement for Arteta if he did leave before the season end?
It's a tough one, but in a nutshell, if I had to pick one name, it would be Allegri.
Okay. Anthony, what about you? Just very quickly. Who would you want to see as our next manager?
Yeah, it is a tough one. I guess, look, kind of a roundabout answer. Like I keep saying to people, that sort of say, if you got rid of him in the morning, who would you replace him with? And I sort of say, yeah, okay, I don't really have a name off the top of my head. I don't know, this probably sounds a bit of a silly kind of thing to say, but I think it's possible to get rid of him but not have someone lined up, because we have the summer. You can take your time and do a bit of research, and people automatically think you have to have someone else that's better. But there's so many coaches out there, there's so many managers. I believe there's a lot of guys out there. I may not be able to give you names, but there's plenty of guys out there that can do as good, if not better, a job. I would have liked Ancelotti to get the job to begin with. And I think maybe if you got someone like Ancelotti, a bit more experience, I think he's a bit more realistic an option. You take it from Everton. I can't see, obviously Allegri or someone like that would be great, but I can't see Allegri.
Would you take Brendan Rodgers?
Yeah, 100%. Brendan Rodgers was a guy that I liked when he was linked with the Arsenal job originally, and a lot of people were like, no, I wouldn't have Brendan Rodgers. But like that, I think the problem is, as Arsenal fans, we always look at what's above us, and we never want to look what's. I'm not saying Everton or Leicester are below us, but maybe in terms of stature, people are sort of saying, well, no, you can't replace Arteta because he's Arsenal manager and this big club. So, a guy, let's say Aston Villa or something like that, their coach wouldn't be good enough for the job because it's Aston Villa or because it's Everton or because whoever. It's the same with players and our recruitment. I think we have to start looking outside the box, and we can't always be looking to recruit from Champions League teams. We can't be signing Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. We got to start looking, maybe Buendia from Norwich is a good player. Just because he's playing the Championship doesn't mean he's not good enough to play for us. So I think if it does come down to it in terms of recruitment of a manager, it doesn't necessarily have to be one of the big names out there. You can find someone who's well capable. And technically, we signed Arteta, who was a coach and absolutely no experience. So if you want to get technical, no matter who you appoint, is probably going to be an upgrade in terms of managerial experience. Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Wenger wasn't a well-known manager when we got him.
Yeah.
So, All right. Well, on that, Anthony, once again, thank you so much. If you don't follow Anthony, make sure and get over, check out his stuff and subscribe to his channel. And if you haven't already, drop a subscription on our channel. Make sure you like the video. On that, we will be back on Monday night, and we'll do a bit of a review on the Newcastle game, and then obviously we'll be back next Wednesday with the preview for the Europa League semi-final, second leg, most important game of our season. So yeah, guys, thank you very much, and I will say good night.